Good morning everyone, it's Ola from Crochetlicious, and today we're going to crochet a hat. You can work in plush yarn or fluffy yarn, chenille yarn, yes, or cotton yarn or any yarn of your choice. The pattern will work great with every type of yarn you choose. I'm going to be using the chenille yarn, and for this project you only need yarn, matching hook, then a stitch marker, embroidery needle to close the last stitch, to stitch the last round, and we need some fluff for stuffing the heart. And we are going to work with you can work with a written pattern or a grid. I will add the link to the description box below so that you can open your neat version of the pattern. I'm just going to use my notes, and yeah, off we go. Let's start. So we start with a chain of 6, and to start the chain we wrap the yarn around the finger. So we have 2 loops. We move the first loop closer to the edge of the finger, and then we grab the other loop and slide it off your finger, insert the hook, and then just tighten the knot. And I'm sure there are different ways to create the knot. Just do the one you that works well for you, right, or works best for you. Okay, and to start the chain we just need to grab the yarn and pull through, and that's our first chain. Grab the yarn and pull through, that's second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. So that's our chain. And just to kind of show you where we're going to start, so that's the end, and here we'll have the increase. We'll have 3 single, 1, 2, 3. So here is the loop we need to start working. So it's basically a second from the hook, and we're starting with an increase. And I will insert the stitch marker, so that's easier for me when I start the second round, and that's an increase. So increase is 2 single crochets in a stitch, and then we just do 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. And then in this loop, because, well, technically we need to finish with an increase, but because then we would turn and again crochet in this chain, we're just gonna do 4 single crochets. So in other words, 2 increases. So 1, 2, 3, need more yarn, and then number 4. So I tighten the loop a little bit, and then, so this will be placed for our increase. So 1, 2, 3. We start here, and I know that fluff yarn can be difficult to see, but we can do it. 1, 2, 3 here. And this is just single crochet here. So 1, 2, and third one. Perfect. And we finish with an increase. So 2 single crochets. And that's the first round done. So it doesn't look like, you know, like a heart yet, but the first round will be just a little bit flat, and then it will start folding. So it's all good. Second round we again start with an increase. So first one, then remember to mark it with the stitch marker, and then we do increase. We'll do 5 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're doing an increase, and then we kind of we are repeating the pattern. So we again need to have an increase here, then we need 5 single crochets, and we finish the round with an increase. Perfect. So that's round 2 done. Round number 3, we start with an increase. Then 7 single crochets. Okay. If you're not sure if you've done all the numbers, all the stitches, we just need to count. So that's 1, that's first increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. And then we increase. And we need to have another increase because we're starting, like, we're repeating the pattern. We need 7 again, 7 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3. Perfect. And we need an increase at the end. And then we have the final increase from the top. So that's round number 4. And we are starting with an increase, of course. Just need a little bit more yarn. So increase, then 9 single crochets. 1, okay, that's 9. Now 2 increases. The first one, second one. Now again, 9 single crochets, and we're going to do it here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9. And now it's time for increase. Okay, perfect. So we're starting to have the 4, and in the grid, you've got the nicer one. In the grid, we've just finished here. So we're in this place, and now we're going to do 3 rounds here, like the top of the heart. So it's 3 rounds of singles and then increase at the end. So let's do it. We're starting with 12 single crochets and an increase. Let me just grab more yarn. All right, perfect. So 1 single crochet first, and that's of course the one of the 12. So 1, okay, 2, and of course it's always worth checking if you've crocheted everything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. So now 2 increases. And 12 single crochets again. Okay, perfect. Another round will be 13 single crochets and an increase. So start the round, and of course let's count, because it's what crocheters do. 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. I think I need to recount it. Okay, 13. So 13, so we need 2 increases. Okay. And 13 single crochets again. Okay, perfect. And this is a final round of, just starting with a single crochet. And we're doing 14 single crochets first, and then an increase. Four. Okay, and then we need 2 increases. 1, and that's the second increase, and we're going to do 14 single crochets again. So 12, 13, and 14. Perfect. So, oh wait, that's an accident. Okay. Perfect. So now we need to start decreasing here on top. So we're going to have 3 rounds of decrease, single crochets, and increase, because here we're still lengthening the side of the heart, right? So in the pattern, we are in the grid, we're here. We started to go down. And that's what we're going to do. So we're starting to do 1 decrease, 13 single crochets. So one decrease, single crochets in the amount of 13, and an increase. And decrease is just, it's like you're working 2 stitches in one go. So you insert the hook here, but you only need the front loop, and you need the front loop of the second stitch. Oh, sometimes can be tricky. Wait, like now. It's because it's fluff yarn. Just give me a moment. Oh, here. All right. So 2 front loops. We grab the yarn and we pull through, and we just close it normally, right? Like single crochet, but just like 2 loops together. And 13 increases. So 1. Perfect. So we're in after 13 single crochets. Now we need 2 increases. one and the other, and 13 single crochets now. Let me double check. Okay, perfect. So it's time for a decrease. So again, we just need the front loops. So one and the other, then we grab the yarn, 2 loops, as in a single crochet, and we just close it. And we have a second round of decreases on top. So again, we start with a decrease, a stitch marker, and 13 single crochets. Okay, 13. So 1, oh, and now we need an increase and another increase, now 13 single crochets and a bit more yarn. Okay, perfect. So 1, 2, perfect. And now we need the decrease. Oh, this one's easier. Perfect. And it's the third round of decreases. So final decrease here. Okay. And again, 13 single crochets. That was 1, 1, 2, 3, okay. Okay, perfect. And now we need 2 increases. Okay, and again 13 single crochets. Perfect. So we have 13 single crochets and now final decrease here. Perfect. So we have like first half of the heart done. And if you look at the grid now, we're here in this kind of, I don't know, linker or something like that. So we're going to do 16, well, 32 altogether. So 16 single crochets one side and then 16 another. So 32 single crochets. And that is round 11. So we're halfway there. So that's one. And a stitch marker, of course. And still, even though we're making only single crochets, I would kindly encourage you to count the stitches as well to make sure you're doing everything you need to do. So that was 16 and the other 16. Let me double check. Yep, 32. I do have trust issues. Okay, but this means that we have the first part, the first half officially done. Well, first half and a little bit, I guess. And now look, we are going to build the top here. So we have 3 rounds of increases here, but remember that here we have to lower the number of stitches. So we're doing increases here at the beginning, right, of the round, but at the end we're gonna decrease again. So let's do it. And we are doing 11 single increase, 13 single crochets and a decrease. Okay, so increase. So increase 2 single crochets in 1 stitch. So 1 and 2. Now 13 single crochets. One, two, three. Okay, so that's the 13th, and it's time for decrease. So as you remember, just the front loops, and we close like a single crochet. And we also need another decrease. Perfect. And we need 13 single crochets. Okay, so that's 13, and we finish with an increase. Okay, and time for second round with the increase. So we start with an increase, we do 13 single crochets, and then we decrease. let's start with an increase. Okay, so we have an increase, and then we need 13 single crochets. Okay, perfect. And now a decrease, a second decrease, and again 13 single crochets. Okay, perfect. So that's here, it's 13th, and the final is for an increase. And we need one more round with this increase, so we start again with increase 13 single increase 13 single crochets and a decrease. Okay, so on the first increase, okay, and now 13 singles. Okay, let me double check if it's 13. Okay, so it's time for a decrease, number 1. Perfect. And decrease number 2. And 13 singles. And an increase. Perfect. So this is how it looks now. We're almost, we're almost there. So in the graph, we're going to be here. So around 15, 16, 17 will be singles and decreases. But I do recommend stuffing the heart, the first half of the heart, a little bit, because then, then it will be a little bit more difficult, and it will actually, if we stuff it a little bit, at least it will help us kind of hold the heart. I don't know, it just helps me, so I'm going to do it. You can leave it for later. Okay. All right, perfect. So this round number 15, like I said, it's 14 singles and a decrease. Okay, so first stitch and a stitch marker. All right, so 2, 13. You can always double check if you have the correct number of stitches. Perfect. And now we need first more yarn, and then we need 2 decreases. One and the other. Perfect. And 14 singles. Okay, perfect. Next round, it's 13 single crochets and a decrease. So as you can notice, we're going to have less and less stitches from now on. So 13. So 1, 'Perfect. So 13 and a decrease. Let me double check something. Okay. It's sometimes harder to see where's the next stitch after a decrease. So if you're in doubt, you can just undo the decrease and try again. All right, perfect. And now 13 singles. Perfect. And round 17 is 12 single crochets and a decrease. Perfect. So time for decrease. And the other decrease. And now 12 singles. Perfect. So we're almost there. And if we look in the grid, this is where we finished this. So we are here. We're going to do 4 more rounds, decrease, singles, decrease, until we get to 1 decrease, 3 singles, and 1 decrease, where we're going to just stitch it. So a decrease and 9 singles. Let's go. Okay, so first let's have a decrease. Okay, got it. Perfect, a little bit more yarn. And now 9 singles. Perfect, and 2 decreases now. There's one, and then the other. Now 9 singles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And a final decrease of that round. Perfect. And now we have decrease, 7 singles and a decrease. So let's start with a decrease. Perfect. Perfection. A little bit more yarn. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, 7, first decrease. The other decrease. Oh, one second. Second attempt. Again, 7 singles. Perfect. And I think it's a very good time now to add more stuffing. Because like you can see the opening is getting smaller and smaller, so it's advisable to stuff them. Okay, I think it's okay. And so next round is almost our last round. Is a decrease, 5 singles and decrease. So let's go. Start with decrease. Oh, second attempt again. 5 singles. A decrease. Another decrease. And 5 singles. Perfect, so we have 5 singles. And now the last decrease. Perfect. And we're really done. We just have one more round, and that is a decrease, three single crochets, perfect, decrease again, another decrease, three singles, and the last decrease. Bravo, we did it. Let's use the scissors. Okay, we don't need the stitch marker anymore. Let's just pull the yarn. Okay, so we need to add a little bit more stuffing here and then close the final round. So let's add it a little bit. I'm always worried about overstuffing, but I think we're still good. And the heart can handle a little bit more. Okay, perfect, 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 perfect. Yeah, I think we're good. So for finishing off, we need the embroidery needle. And what I recommend is we only go through the front loops. So a front loop here, a front loop there, and just like, you know, one by one. And you just pull it tighter and tighter. But this is kind of not too tight. We don't need to over tightly, I guess. Okay. Here. Maybe this one as well. And then just hide the yarn needle. Sorry, yes, yarn end. We're not gonna hide yarn needle. Perfect. And we can also hide, because you can see that there are like those little tips, like here for example, and I'm just gonna you know, tighten it a little bit and flatten, that's the word I want. Okay, and just final. All right, and I'm just gonna cut it off here. Okay, and we're done. Just have to flatten it. It's table shop. And shape it a little bit, and we're done. We're done. Thank you so much. See you soon.